All right, everyone. Welcome to episode number 146 of Pro No Coders Office Hours. I'm your host, Tonya. We're here with members Thomas and Bailey, and my backup for this evening, Encore. Thank you for being here. And as always, Kim. So we're going to get started in just a moment. But if this is your first time tuning into Office Hours, we do this every day of the week, Monday through Friday, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you'd like to see that schedule in your time zone, I highly encourage you to go sign up at pronocoders.com. You can just sign up for free at the top right, and then click on the Office Hours tab in your member portal, and you can see all the days and times that we do office hours. So what we do is we invite our members to come on to our Zooms. We broadcast them live, and they can ask us any bubble related question that they want, and we do our best to answer it. We don't always have the answers, but we do promise you won't suffer alone. So we're going to get started. And Thomas, I just want to check in with you, see if you have any questions for us this evening.
I don't.
You don't. How about you, Bailey? Got anything for us tonight?
Hey, Tonya. Yeah, I have two things, if you can help me with them.
Sure.
How would you like me to start? Would you like me to share my screen or?
Sure, you can go ahead and click the share button, and you can actually kick me off of sharing. So that way that just goes from one to the other. Everybody was digging their new power last week.
About being able to share.
Yeah.
To kick you off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So tell us what's going on.
Okay, so this is my app. I've had it, I've been running it for nearly a year now, and it's just slowly evolving, and I'm wanting to add an automated marketing section to it so that we can start doing targeted and automatic marketing as part of the integration. What I'm having trouble with is two things. One is drag and drop. So I've got like drag and drop objects, but I can't seem to get a repeating group, so I don't know how to get a repeating group to use the current cell index to reorder it, and then to save that order into the database. That's the first thing I'd like a hand with, if you can help. And the second thing is just about how I can make, it's more in depth, but how I can make dynamic conditions and make arguments that are dynamic. But if we can maybe deal with the first one first.
The first one first, yeah. And then come back. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So so if I just add another one. So I'm able to get drag and drop working to add to it. And okay. What I'm not able to do is if I add another one there, if let's say I was to delete one, and then I wanted to then include another one that came between these two, send in an email and tag, I'm not able to put that in the correct order.
Got it.
It's not adding it for me. And okay. Then I don't know how to reference when I make changes to the repeating group and to a list. I don't know how to save each cell's index number as the order.
Gotcha. Okay. Encore, do you have any ideas on this?
Not exactly, but I would like to see the editor first, and then.
Sure. Yeah. Can we take a look at what this looks like in the editor?
Yep. Can you still see my screen? Oops.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. This is like, okay. This is repeating group or like what?
So that's a repeating group.
Okay. And this is repeating group, and okay.
So the drag and drop area is here, and technically the drag and drop area is for it's for the actual type of object, which allows me to drag and drop the event type, so like email, SMS, etc. across to it. So I was thinking, unless there's a better way to do it, I was thinking that maybe that I put another drag and drop area to be able to drop into. So, so the second one, they'll actually save the data to what I call automation events.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so the drag and drop area is the same for both of what you just showed us, right? So it's the same drag and drop area.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
what I've noticed is that you can't actually, which is a drag and drop area. What I've noticed is you can't change the content type in a condition for the drag and drop. It's either one or another.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, that's true. And that's actually true of repeating groups just in general, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think the way that you have the repeating group set up is probably correct. I'm just wondering if we can somehow get it to to accept something in between.
Yeah. So
have you studied any of the reordering templates for drag and drop?
I've tried looking through the forum and tried to make it work, and I've tried multiple scenarios and spent hours on trying to get the drag and drop.
So I think what you're going to need to do is, if you don't already, you're going to need to have an order field on the data type.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And then I think when you're going to need a workflow. So the workflow is adding a thing to the repeating group, right?
Yes, it is.
And then, but when you did it the second time, I didn't see anything added. It's not like it added it at the bottom. It just didn't add anything at all, right?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why that was, because there's definitely three. If I drag the thing across, there's definitely three in the database that should be there. I don't know why I didn't add the other one to the repeating group.
So if you were to clear everything out of the database now and did it again, let's just see what happens.
Just need to.
I'm super excited to see this, by the way, Bailey.
It's taken a bit of time, let me tell you.
Because I've thought about doing something like this before, and Jordan's not here today, but Jordan Cameron is doing something interesting like this. It's just like makes me super happy to see this stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool what Bubble can do.
Yeah.
And and it's only limited to your imagination or how you can think about how to make it work. So if I run through what I'm doing is I add a starting trigger. At the moment, I've only got it set up for tags is added or tags is removed, and that looks for the tags field on the user database to see if something's been added or something's been removed. So when tag is added, I add it. So I can put my tag in. I choose an option if I want it to run once or run every time. So in this case, for testing, I put run every time. This will be my second question later. It's about segmenting the list. But if I was to put in contact details, first name is Rob, and then another condition I've been setting up, or contact details, first name is Bailey, then it adds those to the database, and that would be the condition fields that we want to run our API on. So if I want to then add to it, I've got this will be a drag and drop group. I add to it to add whichever event I want to add. Email.
Yeah, can you, wait, really? Can you show the database? I just want to see the database.
Sorry, can you say that again, please, Anka?
Can you show us the database?
Oh, the database? Yep.
Yeah.
So triggers.
We should be live. Ben, we should be. Let me go check.
So I've got my order 1, 2, 3, which is being added. I started playing around yesterday with temp order to put a temp order, but I couldn't get it working. It was something that was on the forums. So it
So
adds.
what is temp order?
I just tried to add a temp order. I tried to. It's just a test to see if it would work.
Okay.
I couldn't get it working. But
Okay.
order's the
It's
order.
getting a same value. It's getting a same value as the order field.
Yes, at the moment it is.
Okay. Yeah. Now go on.
Okay, so now let's go back and try adding one in the middle again.
Yeah.
So if I add one in the middle, I'll add email.
And I saw the workflow happen. Oh, and it did add it at the bottom. Okay.
Yeah. But I think it didn't work before because I deleted one.
So it always get added at the back, at the end of the flow.
Yes. Yeah. At the end.
Oh,
Which
and
I
so
can control via order, can't I?
wait, say that one more time.
So obviously, the order that it's being displayed in is based on the sort order of the repeating group.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's some logic in a couple of templates that I found in the bubble templates, like library, where you can kind of borrow their logic in terms of how they are reordering when you move something around in a repeating group. So what you're doing is you're adding something to the repeating group, but you want to add something and also reorder the repeating group. So I'm thinking you could probably borrow that logic and get it working, because you just need to have that. I mean, you don't have to show the order in the index there, right?
No, exactly.
Like
that's so that I know.
That's just for your purposes. Yeah. So if you let me take a quick look. Okay. Actually, can you go? Oh, go ahead, Ankur.
Yeah, go ahead. I just want to ask, like, if you delete the tag field, then the order will distort it, right?
So if I delete tag, which is number 3.
Yeah.
And then
now come on the database.
So you can see there that it deleted 3. But what I was hoping to do was run when I click save, or when I click save on the repeating group. What I was hoping to do was run a workflow on a list, change the repeating group order to the current cell index order, because you've got current cell indexes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So changing the current cell index to that, but I can't get that as an option to be able to do. Oops.
Sorry, Billy. Can you go again? I'm not able to understand what exactly. Like, there is an issue with the order, right?
Yes.
And so when you delete, it is not reordering, right? And since it is,
I do want to reorder it. So I do want to be able to reorder it, but which I guess is the second part. But when I click save, I want it to be able to save the order instead of being like this, where it's 1, 2, 4. Like, obviously we want to be able to resave it as the 1, 2, 3 if we're going to be able to reorder it for current cell index. So if I look at my my workflow, is this the right one? Sorry, it closed down the page. Where's my page? Okay, so if the workflow. Okay, so when the save button is changed, what I'd like to be able to do is run a workflow on a list, or make changes to a list, being the repeating group. So, and I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but make changes to a list of things.
So there's top shelf elements, I think, is the one I'm looking for. Hang on a second.
What I'd hope to do is order equals and then current cell index. But how do I get current cell index when I'm not in the repeating group?
Oh, yeah, you would probably need a plugin to kind of expose that data. But there's another way of doing this that, hey, I'm going to kick you off sharing screen.
Yeah.
And I will share my screen. So this top shelf elements template has drag and drop. And that's what I used for this. And if you go into their drag and drop list here, it tells you how it works, right? But if you go into the workflows in particular, you can see this is their equation for changing. Yeah, it shows you the expressions that you need, and you'll have to maybe dissect it a bit to understand that this expression is basically a mathematical formula for recalculating the order based on that order field and not the index. Right. So it's all just doing math with what's the order of the thing in the database where I am and what's the order of the thing in the database where I'm going. And we do a little, like, we take this subtraction and addition, and then we divide it by 2. And that way all of the order fields remain unique so that your ordering in your repeating group works.
Okay. So, and where do I haven't even found those. So where do I find that?
So you can find the template. So what you would do is you would just spin up a new app and use this top shelf elements free template as the template for that app. Actually, you would get the template first and then spin up the new app with that template. Yeah. And then when you go to that page, you can follow along. It's not a lot. It's pretty simple, free. But it's it kind of teaches you how to do this will help you on both counts, right? It'll help you with the ordering when you're adding a new thing to the list, but also when you're dragging things up and down on the list.
Yep. So. I'll have a play.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, no, I have a play with that. And Tonya, can I ask one more question about how to dynamically run my expressions?
Absolutely. Would you mind if we move to the next question and circle back? We kind of go around robin.
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So Adam.
Sorry, Tonya. I just want to I just want to ask, what is order number? It is like new index, or like what is the order basically? Or like there is a one index field, one is order. So order is like new index or particular like cell.
Yeah. So he was thinking that, I think you were thinking, Bailey, that you were going to use the index number of the repeating group, like the total numbers, and just kind of be able to reorder it that way.
Yeah, because we can obviously save to when we save it, or when I add to the to each one, and I drag another one into the drag field, then, or the drop field, then I use the current cell index as my starting point. +1, and in a repeating group, it obviously works to be able to know what index it is and what number repeating group it's added, but it doesn't seem to work outside of a repeating group. Or I don't know how to access that information outside of a repeating group.
So there are a couple of plugins that will let you grab lists of numbers and things from repeating groups, but I actually don't think you need that for this particular use case.
Okay. Yeah. And Anchor, the 2 orders I had there, one was order for the order that is to display in and the order that's to run in. So in my backend, I have order defining what logic the different events have to happen. So and when they all happen. So that's what order defines. So it's important to know what the correct order is to be able to send an email at the right time or an SMS at the right time.
Got it. Yeah. Awesome. Adam, you're up. Yeah, of course. We'll be right back to you in just a few minutes. Adam, you're up.
Hi, thank you. So I have a little bit of a follow-up from a question that I asked previously. Sure. It was how to trigger a pop-up that lives in a reusable on a page. And I did the thing that I could do best, which was basically create a custom event in the reusable, and then trigger that custom event when an item is clicked on the page. And I was like, yes, I'm almost there. And then the last thing, it's so annoying. I want to display data from that cell in the pop-up that lives in the reusable. So, and that is one thing that is not possible, which is so, it's like, you almost got it, you know?
Got it. Okay, so there's data in a cell in a repeating group.
On a page, and then
On a
the pop-up
page.
exists in a reusable header. So what I want to
Okay.
happen is essentially just shift that data that is in the reusable and display that data in the pop-up. And I can open the pop-up, but I can't guarantee that it's going to open the right group's information.
Okay.
My other option is basically put the pop-up everywhere on the page that I'm going to do that. But like the pop-up is a very dense, like if you saw the workflows for this pop-up, I think it's probably 60.
Okay, got it. Yeah. No, you don't want to do that. So
yeah, can you show the like screen or like where exactly you are doing?
Oh yeah, you can kick me off screen sharing, Adam, if you want. Or did you not want to share your screen?
I'm kind of the type of person who doesn't really like to.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, I get that. That's okay. That's why I have the Sandbox app. So go to November Sandbox. Here we go. So I think what you need to do is you've got, so the pop-up has a data type, right?
Yes. Well, so there are multiple groups in the pop-up, and the group that is displaying within has a data type. Yes.
Has a data type. Okay. So is it, I'm wondering if it's possible if we can send a thing from the database into that data type, right? Is that the part that you're struggling with?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's make a reusable element here. So I'm going to have a pop-up. It's going to be a very little pop-up. Okay. Have a pop-up. We're going to make it a type of content. So let's just make this a user or a dummy content. And we'll leave the source blank. The question is how we're going to get that data into the pop-up when we trigger it from a custom event. This will be show pop-up user.
User or data?
Oh, dummy. Yeah, dummy. Thank you. Dummy. All right. And so now from our transfer data from page, we'll come here, we'll have a repeating group of dummy data. And then I'm just going to put and a button. So this will be current cells dummies first. And then this will be for is going to trigger a customer event from a reusable element. Oh, I didn't put the reusable element on the page yet. That helps. Transfer, data transfer. Okay, here we go. Show pop-up, and it's asking for my workflow thing here. So we're current cells dummy, and that fits because that's the data that the pop-up is expecting. So you said the pop-up isn't expecting a data type, but the group inside of the pop-up is?
Yes.
Okay. And it's not possible to make the pop-up expect a data type?
There are 5 data types that are within it.
That are within it.
Yeah.
can you abstract that with a thing in your database? So it's expecting a thing in the database that would then refer to one of 5 kinds of things.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, so you have this, you have a pop-up. It has what, 5 groups with 5 different data types expected. Are you only showing one of those things at a time?
Yes.
Okay, then I would abstract. What I would do is I would create a data type called popup thing, right?
Okay.
And then in that, I would have a reference field for each kind of thing, right? And that way, that way you can make a reference to that thing, right? So if so when we click on the button, we could create, like, even if it's just temporary, a new thing to hold that into. I don't know if that's good bubbling. I would probably recommend doing some, like, shifting something. The other thing is when you click this button, you could change the state of things. It might be a little tricky because you're inside of a repeating group, but we might be able to do it. So let's see. If we go to set state, set state of data transfer A. So I have access to the states here. So I could make a custom state to hold that kind of thing and put it on the reusable, and you could reference it from there.
Tonya,
You got it.
Tonya, I just pronounce your name right or wrong? Like,
Yeah.
okay. So I just have one question. Like, what is the question like pop-up expecting a different type of the like data?
Yeah, it's expect, so it doesn't expect any data. It would be like, so I would have, pretend for a moment that this pop-up doesn't have a data type. It has
Yeah.
5 groups with 5 different kinds of data type.
And that is coming from the repeating group.
Yep. So what I'm suggesting is we come in here and we create a new custom state called dummy, and we set that to be of type dummy, wherever dummy is. There we go. Like this. And now in our data transfer page here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger the show pop-up here, and I'll go fix the issue. But before I do that, I'm going to set the dummy thing, the state dummy, to be the current cell's dummy. And then this will go away because I will go and make that reusable not needed.
So the key really is setting the state of the pop-up, because I do have states. That's the only way that this is even functioning and working. But so it's to set the state of the pop-up and then display the data. That's when it should work, right?
Right, exactly. So what we'll do is we would make, so now this isn't requiring a data type, and forget that. So then in here, what I would do with this pop-up, I'm going to have a group here, and the group is going to be of type dummy. And then I'm going to make the data source this data transfers dummy. So I will set that on the other page. I'm going to set this custom state to be the dummy from that current cell when they click the button. And so then when you show the pop-up, it'll automatically populate. You won't have to do a display function on that. So let's just try it. Let's put a text here. And this will be parent groups dummies first. And then the workflow is just to show the pop-up, but I forgot to actually show it. And then if I go to transfer data, button transfer, set the state, and then trigger the show pop-up. Okay, so that should work. So if I preview, that works.
Okay, great. So can you just kind of explain really quickly what is the group, the data source of that group? Because I just want to make sure I'm understanding, because we're using dummy a little bit like in multiple places.
Got
so I want
it,
to make
sure.
sure I get like exactly
Yeah.
what that data source is.
So on the reusable, in the pop-up,
Yep.
in this group,
Yes.
it's of type dummy. And then the data source is going to be the custom states dummy. So are you familiar with custom states?
I am.
Okay, so I set a custom state on the reusable itself to be, and it's called dummy and it's of type dummy, right? So then this pop-up, this group is set to be dummy and it's set to be whatever is being held in that custom state, which is also a dummy.
Okay.
And then on the other page here, when I click this button, so this is the same data type. And when I click the button, it sets that custom state that I set on the reusable to
Got
be the
it.
current cells dummy. And then it shows that pop up.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Tonya, I have one question. Like, I'm
Sure.
not still able to understand it. Like, why you put a data in the state rather than just passing the data in the pop-up?
Because he has 5 different groups that he's showing depending on
Oh,
different
got it.
factors. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. No worries. And then, okay, Ben, you're up.
Cool. Mine will be super easy, I'm sure, compared to everyone else's. Sorry. I'll just share.
Wait, did you just apologize for making my life easier, Ben?
Oh, don't know. I apologize. I apologize for everything, I think.
Okay, same.
So essentially I've got a, oh, it's again not letting me screen share. Great.
Oh no.
I don't know what's going on with the new kind of MacBook Pro stuff, but it's, there's something going on.
Okay.
So I've set up pagination down the bottom of a search page, essentially, where it's like go to page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, essentially. But for some reason, 1 shows up because there's only 1 page worth of entries. But then all the rest of the repeating group is blank, and the arrows to go either way are so far apart. Is there a way to collapse a repeating group if there's no extra entries?
Yes, there is. So if we go to so when I do a repeating group and I make it fixed number of cells, there is show partial list on last page if needed. Were you familiar with that checkbox?
No.
Okay, yeah, when you check that box, if it only has like 3 entries and you have 5 that are in the fixed number of cells, it'll collapse the repeating group on the last page.
Okay, and whereabouts is that? Sorry, I can't see the data source. Oh, there we go.
Oh, sorry. No, it's in the repeating group. In order to do pagination, I assume you're using fixed number of cells.
Yes.
And then there's this check mark box right here, show partial list on last page if needed. That just
Gotcha.
means if there's only 3 or whatever, it will collapse it on the last page.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Back to you, Bailey.
Hey, Tonya. So my question is, how do I filter a list to run on and filter it dynamically?
Okay. Do you want to share your screen to show me what you're trying to do? Or
Yep. Okay. Can you see that?
I can.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So in my database, when we first set up the tag and the conditions, I set up the conditions. So I said to include Bailey or Rob and they're the only ones that I wanted to run on. What I would like to be able to do is be able to filter it, and then so I've got my automation triggers working and I've got them doing what they need to do, and I can do it without any filter on board. I'm just wondering, how do we filter a list to run on based on a database or dynamic information? Is there an easy way to do it instead of having to add every single one individually and setting up dozens and dozens of them, as opposed to just setting up one to be able to filter based on the conditions of a database?
Okay, so like give me an example of one of these things that you're
Yep.
wanting to filter by.
Yep. So it would be by name. So like, let's say search for automation triggers sorted by order, and then filtered by first name is Rob. And so obviously I don't have name in the automation event, so I don't have that condition or that group of conditions in there. So I imagine that I go to advanced, and then I do a search for based on the conditions in that database.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, so in this case, is the user now the user whose name you want to filter by,
Right.
or is that true?
No, it won't. As in the user now? No, it won't be.
No. So how would I know which name it is?
It'd be based on a search of the automation filters to be able to tell me if that is the criteria. So site criteria, if first name criteria is Bailey or first name criteria is Rob.
I don't think this is a good example. I'm guessing that you're probably not actually wanting to search for, or is this for like scheduling with Bailey or Rob or something?
It's more, so just to run through the example again. So our starting trigger, our trigger is what defines everything that happens. Action is events, tag is added. So when a tag is added to a user, then this is what will fire and this is what will happen. So in this event, the test is test 1, and we want to run it every time. We want to segment the contacts entering this automation. So when this trigger runs, it only runs on the people that meet these filter segments. So in this case, contact details, first name is, so I only want it to run on people whose contact details first name. So looking in the user database for their first name is Bailey for it to run.
Okay. And then where am I storing? So when you typed in Bailey, where's that stored in the thing that the backend has access to?
Yep. So I store that in filters. So automation filters.
Automation filters. Okay.
Yep.
So then go back to the backend.
Yep.
And in your filtered. And so then click there. So you're looking at automation triggers events and not automation filters, right?
Yeah, exactly. So automation triggers have the events in them.
So the automation triggers events is connected to the filter?
Yeah, so automation triggers would be our parent, and then all the events that happen, so the SMS, the tag, the notify, etc., are added to the triggers.
Right, but the thing that in the database where you're storing the name Bailey, that was an automation filter, right? So
Yes,
is that connected to this automation event?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so we would need to connect it somehow in order to dynamically fill it.
Yeah.
But it would look like this automation events filter and then the criteria.
Yeah.
And that's how you would refer to it then.
and that's all I have to do. So if I connected that one so that that it does have a connection, so like all the others do, like automation, notify, gift card, etc. If there is a connection for filtered, then it will be able to pick like
just go ahead and click right where you are,
tags. Yep.
and then go to where it says is.
Yep.
And then you could type whatever, like, you know,
Yeah,
you could
so-
refer to something else, right?
Yeah.
You're just creating
like-
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then how does it know to look in the user database for that tag?
So you wouldn't actually be typing Bailey. What you want to do is you want to refer to the thing that is going to have Bailey in it. So like you would say this automation events, automation filters, criteria, and then like that's the expression that you're looking for. And you're probably not looking for filter list to run on. You probably not. You probably are. Go click on the actual search itself.
Yep.
So it's already filtering by this, right?
Yeah.
Like this search criteria.
Yeah.
So are you getting more than one when you run this search criteria?
So yeah, this would go to everyone who has a tag of test one. So that shouldn't be filter is empty. That would run on everyone. So it doesn't matter who has a tag one. That's who it would run for. Okay.
And then the same would be for the criteria, right? It would be like the filter. So where you said filters, it would just be filters is not empty or something like that. You would just.
Yeah, and so that would just be filter is equals, it'd be users now filter, and then whatever it would be, criteria.
Okay, but how do you want to inform it what to filter by? I guess that's the piece that's missing, is like what are they doing that's telling Bubble that you should filter it by the criteria equals Bailey?
Yep. So what would be the best way to do that then? So obviously the filters tell me that.
Right, but what's the I guess I don't understand the use case enough to understand what you're filtering by, like what's prompting the system to filter by that.
Yep. So let's say an order comes in, and we tag it as new customer, and then the new customer is, if we want to say male or female, and the criteria might be male. The criteria is male. We want to send them this, but we don't want to send the males a female brochure. We want to send them only a male brochure. So
okay, so the criteria needs to be related to something else in your database.
Yep.
Right. So there would have to be, if you're going to have a criteria Bailey, then Bailey is going to have to be something else that's determined in the database.
Yep. So that would be like first name in my database.
Okay. So then we would be looking for some sort of user whose first name equals that criteria.
And you would do that here, would you? So
probably, yeah.
Yeah. And you wouldn't do it, you wouldn't get the whole list and then filter it. You would just do it here.
Yeah. Anytime you can, I mean, I know you're in the back end, so it's not going to really matter for like performance on the page, but anytime you can do the constrain the search as opposed to filter, it's going to speed things up. Okay. So like wherever the user is being stored on this automation triggers events, like however it's related, you're going to go in and look for that first name to be equal to the filters criteria.
Yep. Okay. Well, I might have a bit of a play if you want to go to someone else and see if I can
Sure.
add the filters in there, and yeah, and then if there's time today, I'll come back. If not, the next one I'll see what we come up with.
Sure. Awesome.
Thanks, Tonya.
Yeah, no worries. Adam, do you have some more?
Yeah, I think I'm going to share my screen if that's okay with you guys, just because I want to set this up right. Okay.
You guys, you know what I did? I'm so sneaky. I'm not that sneaky. I was talking to Eli today in a founders meeting for Pro No Coders, and he did something really awesome where he was able to make the element tree like perfectly visible, where you can see the whole names of the things in the element tree. And then he's going to make it as part of our extension. And then I asked him, I said, and can we also hide the API keys? Like when we're sharing our screen, can you make it so that like we can turn it on in the extension and any of the API keys in the plugin section will automatically be hidden? And so he's working on it. Super excited. So.
Yeah, but there is already a plugin that hides sensitive thing.
There's a plugin that already does that?
Yeah. I don't know the name, but I will just message you like after this call.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's going to be part of our plugin, so I'm feeling pretty excited. Okay, go ahead, Adam.
Okay, so this is the edit button, and essentially I just want to make sure that I set the state on the repeating group correctly. So this edit button exists in an education's repeating group, right? So is the state on the repeating group or is it on the button?
On the reusable. Okay,
so the state is on the reusable. Let me get to the reusable. There's, oh gosh, this is, wow. Yeah, it would kind of be nice to not have everything shown, but here, actually, it takes a second. I'm gonna stop share for a sec.
Sure.
Just because my computer runs so much slower when I'm actually.
Yep, we're familiar with that problem.
Yeah.
Now we just have to get Ben's screen sharing working.
I think I fixed it.
Yay. It was like, because you had some issues, I think, sharing your screen or whatever before, just because it was super slow.
But yeah, that's fine now. I got a new computer arrived the other day, and it's.
I know. I'm so excited for you.
It's fixed that problem.
Okay, education. All right. I can share again. There we go.
Go for it.
Okay, so essentially, I am trying to set the state here. My bubble has been glitching out a little bit. Okay, there we go.
My theory is that Bubble has been doing a lot of like micro releases of code in trying to get the responsive engine update launched. So I don't know if anybody is on the professional plan or higher, you can actually schedule releases so that you don't get the latest code until after it's been stable and live for like 10 or 12 hours. So.
What is that? Also, wait, actually, I said, what is that about something on my screen, but what is that? Like, what do you mean about the engine thing?
Yeah, so if you go to, I can show it after if you don't want to, but if you go into settings and into versions, if you're on a high enough plan, on the professional or higher plan, you can select to schedule releases instead of immediate releases. So Bubble is always releasing little things like throughout the day, it seems, and it's going live. And this is not their big version releases. This is just like little updates all the time. But sometimes that introduces bugs. And if you want to have a buffer between when they release and when it goes live in your account, if you're on a professional plan or higher, you can schedule the releases instead. So it'll wait like 10 or 12 hours and make sure it's stable before it goes live in your app.
That's great.
Yeah, they I think pushing code related to performance and all. I think in the November like community post they mention it there and like purposely ask like schedule the releases, not immediately, not install the immediate release.
Yeah, there's a bit of controversy over it for sure. Like, why are you updating my live like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
live bubble engine code when I have, especially on the live versions, right?
Right.
But even if dev, if you deploy live, right? It would cause a problem.
All right, so this is the group state, add a new custom state. Text,
Nope, it's going to be of the data type that you want to send into that group.
got it. Okay. And then this should be what?
Yep, so that's right. Education state and then of type education.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then what you need to do is in the pop-up itself,
Uh-huh.
you would need to set the data source of that group to be that state.
So remember the pop-up is 5 different groups. Is that gonna mess some stuff up?
Well, so I'm not familiar with what you're trying to do exactly. So it's possible. Where does it usually come from when you show that pop-up?
It comes from the reusable header. Yeah.
So, but the data thing that populates that group, how does it usually get its data?
This is an input form. So I'm just trying to reuse the same input form as an edit form as well.
As an edit form. Okay. So when they click that button, it's going to populate that field. Is it only going to show that field or is it going to show the whole form?
It's only going to show that specific group.
Okay.
So
then
the state of the pop-up to be whatever, like the text state of this group. So currently it's when the state is education, only the education portion is displayed.
got it. Okay. So the pop-up's data type is a text.
You know, I'm thinking this is too complicated. I think I'm just going to make pop-ups to edit stuff in a different way.
No, I mean the add edit form here, I can show you like how we do it. So I think the thing that is maybe a little complicated is that it's not like an example. Let me give you an example. What would we do as?
So the state of the pop-up is essentially a text. So when the text of the pop-up is education, then the group education shows. And now I'm trying to basically populate something in a cell into that group.
Gotcha. So like you have a form and
Yep.
in that form, it's taking all of the data, but all of the data goes into different data types.
Uh-huh.
Like the sections of data go into individual data types, right?
Yep.
But it's all in one form. So they're clicking like a next button or something, and then they go to like the next part and fill it out, and then they go to the next part and fill it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I don't think it's too complicated. I think I just, since I can't see it, I'm having trouble visualizing it and advising you. So what it is right now, are you asking me how you can show just that section of the pop-up in addition to how to get the information into the pop-up? So when I click the button here, so you can set the states of the dummy transfer. You can also set another state here, right? So I could create another state here that says pop-up text, right? And I could default the pop-up itself to showing whatever that text is, which will then inform which group to show. So if I go here to my reusable, and I go into this pop-up and I make the pop-up type text. And then I have this group here. And on the conditional, I say when parent group, what would I, so parent group's text is education. This element is visible and otherwise it's not visible.
Right. Yeah, I have that set up.
And then what I can do is at the same time that, so this group here is of type dummy, and it's going to show whatever's in this custom states dummy state, right? And then this is text and it's not set, but I'm going to set it now. I'm going to say, okay, when it's data transfers, oh, I didn't set the text here. So here, pop up text of type text. Okay, and then I come here and say data transfers pop-up text, right? So the thing that you have to do is when you click the new, you want to make sure when it's pulling up the form anew that you would clear the states of the pop-up text and everything else. So, and just like you would clear the dummy state because you don't want anything to be pre-populated, right? So you just have to make sure that everything's going to be fresh. And then you could set the pop-up text to be whatever you want it to be when you're clicking the new button. And then when you're clicking an edit section, like on your page where you want to edit the education stuff, then you would set the data transfers pop-up text to be education. And then this group will show when the pop-up is shown. And then this will show this is being set by when you send the data into this dummy state. So it might sound a little complicated and convoluted the way that I'm explaining it. I'll try to slow down, but what you're doing is normal. So
okay.
Yeah.
I think the last thing is the data source data transfers dummy. I'm not, because in yours, because I know that data transfer is the reusable name. I'm not necessarily transferring it through the header, but I guess I am. So I have to basically transfer it through the header, is what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
So you should be able to see it. If it's a reusable in the reusable, the header reusable, you should be able to have access to its states.
Okay.
So when you're on this page here, then you set this. You can also set like that. But if I add the header, and then from here, I edit this and I add the data transfer to the header. And I'd say I just want this to be 1 pixel. And then I take it off of reusable. Data transfer A, this is going to cause a few problems just when I delete it. But then here, oh, I don't have access to.
Yeah, that's the
there.
trouble I'm running into.
I don't
Is
think
that because I'm on the, you don't think what?
You can able to access the reusable into reusable, like sort of thing, because
No, I think it might be a problem with the hang on a second, because I know I've done that before. I mean, we do it all the time with our pop-ups reusable. We've just put it in the header because in Canvas, we use it all the time. So let me just try something here. No. No. Something's wrong. I'm not sure what's wrong, but I know I've done this before. Because we do all the time, we'll put reusables in the header that we can access through. Yeah, I have to ask, I guess, but I've got to figure out how I've done that before.
Okay. If you find out, that would be really, really helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
Yep. Ben, you're up.
Okay, attempting to share screen again.
Yes, kick me out.
Let's see which one it is. That one. Did that work?
It did.
Hey,
We are looking at your screen.
back to this issue. I did what you said, but it's still doing the same thing down the bottom here.
Oh, are you using a horizontal group?
Yeah, how else would you do page pagination like that?
Oh. Yeah, so when I said pagination, I was thinking in terms of a vertical group. So you're wanting horizontal scrolling, and then
so it's set up like this in the tutorial that I did.
so fixed number of cells, and you would just have one row, but with 10 columns in the row.
Yeah, so it can show 1 to 10 pages if required, and then the arrows go to the next 10.
So I would Is there a reason you don't want to scroll?
No.
Because the horizontal, if you set this up as a horizontal scroll repeating group, you could just, your users could just scroll.
So just do that instead.
Yep, but then you're probably going to want it to look nicer. So you probably want to remove the scroll bar and then install a really nifty free plugin that allows you to drag and scroll.
Oh, okay. And I'm assuming that's the drag and scroll plugin.
Yep, the repeating group drag to scroll or something like that, and it's free and it's awesome. You have to set it up, but it's really easy to set up, and then it works really, really well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just have a look at this and make sure it's all good. Still doing it.
Yeah, but is that what are you trying to scroll? The things up at the top, those tiles?
Well, no, essentially I just want this to not be all of these empty cells and then right when there's no.
But what are we trying to page through? Is what I'm trying to understand.
There'll be 200 of these cards, and I don't want to show them all on one page.
Right. So I guess what I'm asking is, why don't we do a horizontal scroll instead for those things, for the Superdry, H&M, and Adidas?
Do a horizontal.
Are they in a repeating group?
Yes.
Okay. So is there a reason you're not using horizontal scroll with that repeating group?
No.
Okay. So, I mean, how are they set up?
I guess it should be horizontal scroll. And yeah,
Right.
I'm just trying to think in my head how that would look.
Well, I wouldn't have it so tall. I would just have it be as tall as you need it for the tiles, and then you should be able to scroll. As you need to.
Have you done that? Do you have an example of that?
Yeah,
I'm
I can show
struggling
you.
to
Yeah,
get it in my head. Sorry.
that's okay. No worries. So if we go. I'm going to do a repeating group, and I want horizontal scrolling. And horizontal scrolling only allows me to have one column. So I'll go like this, and then.
Oh, it only allows you to have one column, does it?
It's okay. You can. Let's see. Let's do dummy again. Actually, let's do a group instead. I can't find my horizontal repeating. Okay, nailed it. Nope. There. Okay, so I have this group. I'm going to remove the style. I'm going to give it a border so you can see it.
Yeah, I'm not sure this would work on a search results page, would it?
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted that whole time. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
it work on the search page?
Well, just if you've got search results, doing a horizontal scroll just seems a bit weird to me. Is it not? Am I missing something?
Well, you're already loading it this way, and so you want to show that there are pages. So I guess the other way we could do it is here. We could make this not horizontal scrolling. We could make it X number of cells, and I would just have the buttons outside of the repeating group. Like the buttons that you're wanting to do to go to from page to page to page,
Yeah.
I would not have that inside the repeating group.
It's not inside the
No.
repeating group.
No, I would have that separate. So I would do in the repeating group, I would do row 1, 3 columns, and then we would do a different repeating group, maybe. Trying to think. Have your maybe text here. So, well, you could do this with buttons, right? Like you can replace this with a button. You could even use like an emoji in the button or whatever you want to make it look good. But you can do your back and your next. Make it look however you want, because I think your problem was it was all the way over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just would separate that out. I would put your controls outside of the repeating group and then design them the way that you want. And then if you need a list of numbers for like, are you wanting to show how many pages there are?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like 1 out of 25 or something like that? Or do you want like the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4?
Either would be fine.
Yeah, I'd probably just do a text and probably just do here. And I would say repeating group dummies, page number, and then repeating group dummies. List of dummies divided by count, and then divided by however many you're showing, which would be 3 in this case, and then formatted as number, decimal place 0. Right. So this is 1 of 1. That's not right. Oh, I guess it is right because I don't have, I didn't divide it by 3 formatted. I need to divide by 3 and then round up or something like that. I have to get the math right, but to share the pages. And then on this workflow, I would show next. And on this workflow, I would show previous.
Okay, cool.
Yep, so I can go back and forth. And so I have the page number right. I just have to figure out the math for figuring out the pages. It didn't look like that was intuitive to me for some reason here,
okay.
like trying to figure out. So the repeating group dummies. Yeah, we just have to figure out how to accurately know the number of pages.
It'd be the number of records showing divided by the record count.
I don't understand.
Count divided by 3.
How would it be?
Count divided by 3. Divide.
Yeah, divided by 3 and then maybe just 0, like.
Yeah.
I can have a play with that. That's okay. That's easy.
Because if I do this, it's probably going to show me a decimal, right? So that's not quite what I'm looking for.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So like it's 2, so I would round it up, I guess is what I probably need to do. So divided by 3 and then formatted or rounded up. Not formatted, let's delete the formatting and then go
Floor or ceiling, something like.
yep, ceiling and then formatted with no decimals. Probably don't have to do the formatting if I did. Yeah, there we go.
Awesome. Cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I think we're going to wrap up this episode of Office Hours, and we're going to go into After Hours right after this, so you don't have to disappear if you're members. We're going to be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you'd like to join us for a complimentary session of Pro No Coders Office Hours, please go to pronocoders.com. Sign up here. And then once you're logged in, you'll be taken to the members portal and you can click on a link to join our office hours for a free session before becoming a member, just so you can see what it's all about. Thank you everyone for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Well, actually, I'll see you in after hours, but I'll see everyone else